we were all the crew. We were just like listening to her, and we were like, "Oh, this is scary. This is haunting." We were really in the moment.
You said you don't really like watching your stuff. Is that you don't like watching it with an audience, or you don't like watching your stuff, period?
I usually don't want to go back to watch my own movies because I feel that we never stop working on them. But at some point, because it the way it is, you have to stop working on them.
Yes.
So you have to give them to the audience. And every time you keep watching, you just like, oh, I would like to do this or
Right.
maybe this and change that. And so I just prefer to move on and go, into another adventure.
And let go.
Exactly. Yes, you have to let go. This is the hardest thing, and to cut that rope and be able to move from to just yes, it is exactly the most challenging part for a filmmaker.
Yes. It makes all the sense in the world to me, honestly. You're never, nothing is ever really done. It's just, it needs to go out and you just move along and it's time for the next thing. Yeah. So this movie is about, you just said tethered. It's a family tethered literally by a rope to one another, but it's also about being tethered to a belief system, and they're clinging very tightly to this. Some members want to potentially break away and let go of that. Did you intentionally want to explore how that tether can be either a savior or a danger?
That was exactly the center of the script and the story I wanted to tell. Like the script was presenting itself as a survival post-apocalyptic movie in the vein of Quiet Place or Bird Box, but for me it was much more about this mother living with her two sons deep in the forest, one who believe everything she's saying and the other one who start questioning. And I really wanted to develop that seed. I really wanted to make the movie really reflect on that question and how they at some point need to embrace some of the darkness, some of the belief, to be free and cut the rope or not. And I, the original title of the movie was Motherland. Yes, and for me, and because of a TV show, we had to change it, but it has like something that was very deeply connected to that theme about, questioning, believing, and the world where we're living now.
I love that. Interesting that you said the script had kind of this feel, and then what you took from it was this kind of piece of it, because we were talking on the red carpet last night, and one of the co-writers, this came up, but it comes across, the tone of it is very much like a dark fairy tale. And one of the writers said, we didn't see that until you took it and turned it into that. And then they're like, ah, yes, that is what it is. So for you, was that always like you read that and you're like, this has like a fable, dark fairy tale kind of vibe to it?
If you look at classical fairy tale in the history of humankind, it has always been like a very important psychological tool to face the monster within, to face the darkness that we don't understand, to actually exorcise some of our fear. And maybe one of the reasons why genre movies are so successful and are so prolific in the world. I mean, there is many of them. It's because maybe they're also answering that need that we have to think about ourselves, to think about who we are, and confront ourselves with some stuff that are like sometimes very dark and hard to confront in a realistic way.
Yes.
So the fairy tale for me was obvious when I read the script. I really wanted to go in that direction. I wanted to bring the element of a fairy tale without giving too much. A fairy tale never give all the keys. A fairy tale always keep the motivation of the character in a kind of definitive but not explained way, and that creates a connection, like something that's like almost subconscious for you and how you will understand yourself through that story.
Halle Berry lists The Hills Have Eyes as one of her all-time favorite horror movies, and she's a horror fan, and she lists this in her tops. Did you know that before you guys connected to work on this?
No, I had no idea, but when we met, she told me about that, and but what I keep from the first time we met was I was kind of coming and meeting someone that I really admire, that's like an amazing actress, and I knew perfect for that part. But when she looked at me in the eye the first time and say, I want to be sure we're not going to compromise. I want to be sure that we're going to keep all the complexity, all the layers of this character, and we're going to even develop them further. I was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. And when you go down that path to have your lead actor, who's also a movie star, who's also one of the producer, side by side with you, sharing the same vision, you know you have a shot to create something that's not expected, or something that will keep like an edge that you could have lost, at many points.
And she does go very dark and very vulnerable in this, which is really cool to see somebody who's a Bond girl and an Oscar winner going there and doing these kind of dark things.
I mean, she did so many different things. And I was trying to comp, like this is going to be like this movie or this movie. And then she created something very different. I remember watching her telling the story around dinner to the kids, and what happened to her when she needs to make them believe more about the evil, even if it doesn't show itself that it's still there. And we were all the crew, we were just like listening to her, and we were like, oh, this is scary, this is haunting. We were really in the moment. She brought a level of fear that was not on the page necessarily, because the evil was the center, but she brought through her character something that was unexpected, that was much more unsettling, because almost taboo. How your mom, who's the most loving and protective person in the world, can be also the most dangerous person for you.
And we all become kids around the campfire as she's telling that
Yes,
story, everyone
exactly.
leaning in. Because I feel like watching the movie in the audience the same way you catch yourself being like, oh, and then what? So this story centers on a mother and two sons. Crawl is very much a father-daughter movie. Well, how about Crawl 2? What, can you tell us anything about Crawl 2?
Cannot reveal anything about Crawl 2, but what I can say is the DNA of Crawl, the DNA of Never Let Go, is really a family story and human bonds and how they are held together. I feel that no matter what, no matter how great the monster is, no matter how dangerous or amazing the design will be or the visual effect, if you don't believe in the human side, in the human story, then you lose all the potential fear that you can create for the audience. So I would say that no matter what, Crawl 2 will be centered around a strong character relationship.
We would expect nothing less from you.
Thanks.